The first elementary school here and the first school to get educated by blacks was called Luckett. And this is elementary school. All this property you see right here. And when we came out here and videoed this, let me just show you what happened in our black history. When we came out here and videoed this Luckett Elementary School, they had the sign out here and letting you know that this was a black elementary school. But as you can see, they done took the sign down. They don't want you to know nothing about black history out here in Houston. That's why we want to bring it to you. As you can see right there, the sign was right there called Luckett Elementary School, but the sign is taken down. But we're going into the original spot of where blacks and these kids that attended Luckett Elementary School. They lived all back up in here on Lamar and Palmer. All back up in here was nothing but black people. We're right up here on the corner of Polk and Palmer. For some of you who not quite familiar with Palmer Street, well, we're gonna go down Polk Street, kind of get you a little bit familiar. We're not gonna go down Polk towards Darling because they got construction going on. We're gonna go back towards Scott Street. Remember, all of this was black people lived up in here. Black people started moving back up in here in around about 1905 or 1906, because all of this land was occupied by blacks, and they went to school up there at Luckett. And you want to say, whatever happened to Luckett? Well, I'm going to show you what happened to Luckett. Luckett was replaced because blacks was moving all back up in here. That's the reason why they built a brand new school and a bigger school to accommodate some of the people that was going to Luckett. And we're right here on the corner of Scott and Polk. We're going now to Dotson Elementary School. That's what happened to Luckett, because blacks were moving out of this area and moving back towards the area back going towards Blackshear and Emancipation Park. Because remember, they bought the land Emancipation Park in 1872. And blacks, they bought that land. They really wasn't staying over there, but they really wanted that land so they could catch out to make work. Because after all, there's no more slavery going on. And see, blacks was staying all back up in here. And they was going to Luckett. And Luckett, was, you see, it was a small school. It was getting too small. And as we go here, and we will show you where it was replaced by Dotson Elementary School. Now, as blacks were staying all back up in here, was nothing but black people. And all of these kids was going to Luckett. And Luckett was getting, the kids was moving out. Just like you see the blacks moved out of Third Ward, okay, this is the same thing. They was moving out towards a better way of living over here on this side. And this is why they built this school right up here called Dotson. Luckett was getting so small, and the kids was moving back over here, because see, you remember, it wasn't no Southwest, it wasn't no I-45. And there's Dotson. There used to be Dotson. It's no longer Dotson. It's closed. And they remodeled as we go around to show you this brand new school. And all of this at one time was black people, and all these black kids used to go to Luckett before they built Dotson. And now, as you can see, here's the brand new school that replaced Dotson. And we're gonna go by and show you all of the black schools, elementary school, that have been closed down. And here it is. This is the new school. As we can see, this is a high school for lawyers. In case you want to get your law degree, This is a high school for people that want to go in the criminal justice system. Right here. And as we go around here, as we leaving Dotson, and we're going towards Blackshear, which was the second black elementary school in 3rd Ward. In 1916, blacks was moving over here by the Emancipation Park, and they built the second black elementary school, a bigger and larger elementary school, and it was called Edward L. Blackshear. And Mr. Blackshear was a big professor over there at Prairie View A&M that they decided to name the school after, and he helped organize blacks to help build a Negro General Hospital, which is right across the street as we look at it right now. And it was to help Prairie View A&M with nurses. That's why they named this hospital. 11 years later, the Negro General Hospital, which was the first and only black-owned Negro hospital in the city of Houston. And all the blacks that were living out here in 3rd Ward, they went to Negro General Hospital because the other hospital was not integrated. So this was the only hospital that they could go to was Negro General Hospital, or they could go to the county hospital, which was Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis was there before the Ben Taub. In fact, when they moved out and went over there by the medical center, they changed the name to Ben Taub. But the original name for the county hospital was Jefferson Davis. And we will go through and show you where they have closed down all of the black elementary schools except Blackshear and Turner. And we're going to the second black elementary school, which was Douglas. In 1927, they built the 3rd elementary school here in 3rd Ward, and it was called Douglas Elementary School. And now it has changed its name to Yellowstone Academy. See, all our black elementary schools have been closed down, renamed, should I say, except Blackshear Elementary School. The rest of the elementary schools have been closed down or they have changed the name. And this is Douglas Elementary School, which was the 3rd black elementary school in 3rd Ward. By 1955, Blackshear and Douglas was getting so overcrowded, and the white people in 3rd Ward was moving out of 3rd Ward, and the blacks was moving in 3rd Ward. HISD decided to give blacks 3 elementary schools, and this is one of them, which is Dunbar. And the second one is J. Will Jones. And the third one is Turner Elementary School. And all of the names have been gone away. This is Dunbar. It's no longer Dunbar, it's the police substation. We will go by J. Will Jones next. We're live right here on the corner of Hamilton and Elgin. What used to be J. Will Jones, now it's called Houston Academy for International Studies. And we're live, like I said, all the black elementary schools have lost their names except Blackshear. This is another elementary school that whites gave blacks in the 50s from the overcrowdedness of Blackshear Elementary and Douglas Elementary. We're live right here on the corner of Elgin and Hamilton, where now it's 288. And look at the traffic. Look how much Houston have grown in the last 60-something years. Amazing. We're right here on the corner of 288 in Elgin, or what you might call Hamilton and Elgin, what used to be J. Will Jones. After World War II in 1945, blacks was beginning to come over here off of Wheeler Street. Wheeler used to be the cutoff in the early 40s, but in the late 40s after World War II, they built Texas Southern University, and blacks was beginning to move on the other side of Wheeler. But they could not go on the other side of Blodgett. Blodgett was the cutoff line. So therefore they gave black another school, because in the early 50s, blacks was moving over here on the other side of Wheeler. And that's when they decided to give blacks another elementary school because blacks was getting too crowded over at Blackshear. That's why they gave J. Will Jones, because blacks was moving over there by Shinneburg and the whites was moving out. That's why whites gave them that school. Well, back over here on the other side of Wheeler, especially on the other side of Blodgett, blacks was not living over here. But by the 50s, blacks was beginning to move over here on the other side of Blodgett. And by the late 50s, blacks had beginning to move over here and whites was beginning to move out. And that's why they gave blacks another elementary school, which was called GBM Turner Elementary School. And the principal was no other than Miss Ruby Thompson. Miss Ruby Thompson, who they built a school they named after her. All right, everybody, welcome to my elementary school. GBM Turner. It's no longer Turner Elementary School. It's called Lockhart Elementary School. For some of you who have moved out of town and went to Turner Elementary School, well, that's how it looked today. They gave us this school, which just wasn't the way it looked when they gave it to us, but this is the way the school was, GBM Turner. And later on, they changed the name to Lockhart Elementary School. At one time, it was called Lockhart Turner Elementary School. Then they changed the name and dropped Turner altogether and named it after Lockhart, which is a local black person here. In fact, Miss Lockhart taught over there. Part of her family was part of Jack Yates' family. And this is Turner Elementary School today. It's called Lockhart. But for some of us who went to Turner Elementary School, look at the land that what Turner Elementary School used to be. And this is how the school looked today, which is called Lockhart. And we're going down to the last elementary school. And the white folks didn't give us this elementary school. The Jewish people gave us this elementary school. And it's on the corner of Sophomore and Towester. And it's called Lockhart. Now, we are going into what used to be Lockhart Elementary School. That this school was once owned by Jews. The Jewish people gave HIS this school when they moved out the neighborhood. Because the white people had gave us Turner. But later on in the early 60s, the Jewish people moved out and gave HISD this school, which was called Lockhart Elementary School. They renamed it after they turned it over to blacks. Now it's called the Energy School. And let's ride around for some of you people who haven't seen the new Energy School that once was called Lockhart Elementary School, which is right here on the corner of Towester and Sophomore. Let's ride around so we'll see how this school looks. Look how large it is. Will this take the place of Jack Yates? I don't think so. A lot of people thought it would when they first started building this school, because Jack Yates is right around the corner. And a lot of blacks was worried, thinking that they were going to close Jack Yates because the enrollment was so low and the grades were so low. But thanks to our loving principal, Mr. Davis, and Miss Tiffany Gilry, they turned it around. And of course, our superintendent, Miss, or should I say, Dr. Latham, they turned it around where Jack Yates now is an exclusive part of the Bachelor Scholarship, which is only 5 schools from HISD. And Jack Yates is part of those 5 schools who made it. And is the only 5A school. The rest of them are 6A schools, which would include Lamar, Bel Air, Chavez, Heights, and the last one would be Bel Air, would be Yates. Those are the 5 schools who qualified. But as you ride around and look at the new area, they had to make this like it is because this property belongs to the Jewish people. The Jewish people donated this property. So they had to do something with this property. And for those that wanted to know, will it interfere with Jack Yates? And this is the new, you have a law school over there. It used to be Dotson. Now you have another energy school right here, which is called Energy Institute High School. Now, does this affect Jack Yates' enrollment? Most likely it does. But